For our next segment, we're excited to welcome Bonnie Milligan. She's a star of Head Over Heels on Broadway.
Welcome, Bonnie.
Hello, thank you. Settle in here.
Yes, get settled.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So can you give our audience just a brief overview of the show?
Yeah, so I kind of describe it as a modern day fairy tale. It follows a royal family, a king and queen, and their two daughters, and I play the oldest daughter, Pamela. And the kingdom we're in is very kind of set in its ways, and a new oracle comes into town, played by Peppermint, who she was the runner-up on season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race. And as an oracle who says, your ways are bad, so you need to change. Otherwise, these prophecies will happen. And so we kind of go on a road trip to thwart the prophecies.
Okay.
And of course, you can't thwart oracle prophecies. So along the way, it's really it's a comedy. So it's very Shakespearean. There's twists and turns, love in the forest, people in disguise. But it's really a story of kind of acceptance, love, and accepting of others and like your true self. And that's kind of how you find happiness.
Yeah. Is that what drew you to the show?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's such a message I think we need right now in this time, like, especially in it, it's kind of like a fall of the patriarchy and people kind of discovering their true selves. My character is someone who, along the way, kind of discovers her sexuality and not wanting men. And I'm also, a plus-size gal who I'm playing the most beautiful girl in the world.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and in our world, everybody agrees on stage, and it's like that's the thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of exciting messages of self-love, and and the oracle, that character is actually a non-binary character who uses they them pronouns. So it's all these kind of very progressive ideas set in the old times. So it's kind of a nice, hopeful fairy tale of what we could be.
Yes.
Which would be good.
So you just mentioned that your character is plus size and that she is beautiful and gorgeous and perceived as such, by her peers.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about the importance of that normalization?
Yes. Well, there's so much, especially as an actress, so much of the job is getting auditions, and a lot of those auditions will have just insulting things in the descriptor, whether it's like, oh, fat or lazy or this, and you're like,
Really?
what? And it's hard in all forms of media, whether it be stage or TV, film. And rarely do you get to be a plus-size human or just a human and exist without being like explained why you exist.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not how I go through my life. I exist, I date, I do things. And nobody's every time like, but how is it? How have you overcome all your feelings? And you're like, but I'm just me. So it's sadly refreshing and revolutionary to be standing on a Broadway stage. And my first solo number is called Beautiful. And it's about how beautiful I am. And the amount of people I've met at the stage door, especially just tears in their eyes, think, I never thought I would see this. And young actresses who've been told you can only be Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray, which again, her weight is referenced all the time. And it's hard, but it's exciting to be a part of that on a Broadway stage and giving that message of beauty, that beauty comes in all forms.
Absolutely.
And this is one of them. So get into it.
Get into it.
Can I drink this?
Speaking of excitement, there's all kinds of great reception. Celebrities, Neil Patrick Harris, Whoopi Goldberg. What is it like receiving that level of reception?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's definitely been super exciting to meet everybody that comes back afterwards and wants to take a picture. And, people I have looked up to forever. I mean, like Whoopi Goldberg, I was like, I couldn't deal with it. And Bernadette Peters and Betty Buckley, just like the range of, and also with Peppermint in our cast, all of these past queens of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I love RuPaul's Drag Race. So it's been really exciting, and people who I've appreciated their art and their work coming and kind of appreciating mine is amazing.
Yeah. All right, and this is your first Broadway show.
It is.
That is insane. Talk about that experience.
Well, it's something I've always wanted. I was the kid that would get the original Broadway cast albums and memorize them and read through the booklet and try to figure out what the plot was. And it's a dream of mine to not only be on Broadway, but to originate a role. And the fact that I get to do that in my first Broadway show is unbelievable. And we did a cast album, and that was an emotional day. It's like all the feelings, because I've never been so tired. I've never been so happy. I've never been so all the things at once. But it's amazing that I get to be a part of like a history like this. It's really awesome.
Talk about a full life. Like, that's really, really, really awesome. How did you get this opportunity to begin with?
Well, honestly, it was through connections. I had been in an off-Broadway show down at the Flea Theater down in Tribeca. And I was in a couple of shows that Jeff Whitty, who's the original conceiver and writer of this show, saw me in. And he then later I learned he wrote this with me in mind. So 4 years ago, we did the very first reading in New York, which is where you basically just spend a week on a new show, and the writer's able to kind of hear it with actors and develop and write and all these things. And then from there it went, like 3 years ago, I went out to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and we had the world premiere out there, and it was very different in like 3 hours, and this beautiful, piece of art. And from there, it's kind of progressed to here we are now, 4 years later, the timeline to Broadway, which has been amazing. And I've been grateful for every leg of the journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your journey is just so inspiring, and I know a ton of actors and actresses, friends and family members. It is not an easy career.
Ooh, no.
No, it's like, 1 in a million. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have to, those aspiring actors and actresses?
I think what's so important is knowing who you are and loving yourself. Like when I first moved to the city, I'd kind of, I'd had some things said to me and some like roadblocks, if you will. And I kind of lost myself a bit, and I lost my confidence. And I would say for like a good 5 years, I wasn't really pursuing what I knew in my heart I was meant to do and put here on this earth to do. And I did things here and there, but I didn't realize this like sadness that was in me. And then I got into therapy after I kind of hit like an emotional rock bottom and started realizing I needed to work on me. And once I kind of figured out how to love myself again and figure out that what I had to offer was something different and special, and that's okay, that's what's actually special is good, that I could then walk into a room thinking, okay, I'm going to give me. And so much of this business is not about you. Like, it really isn't. And you forget that. It's so personal. So that when you walk in, if you show you and just bring joy and light, which I hope, it's part of it, I think part of the job, that if they can use you, they will. And if not, maybe they'll see something they'll want for later. Yes. Because there's so many factors apart from your talent. Yeah. So I think loving yourself and believing in yourself and surrounding yourself with people that also remind you of who you are, because it can be so crazy, this business, with everything that happens. That's the most important, is your foundation. Whether it's the people around you, your faith, whatever it is, hold true to that and remember that. Remember your roots. And from there, that's the best way to kind of handle this business, I think. Yeah.
What about the preparation component? I could imagine lots of hours of honing your craft.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like I went to school more for acting. It wasn't a musical theater program. But then, you get to the city, you can take dance classes or voice classes, whatever that, and just working on it. Sometimes my friends and I would get together, we'd pick a play that we want to read, and then just kind of always working on something and keeping your craft going and, keeping your instrument good to go.
Tuned,
if you will. Yes.
And Bonnie, before we let you go, where can we learn more about where to get tickets?
So the tickets, if you want to look at the Head Over Heels website, it's headoverheelsthemusical.com. Following them on social media, on both Instagram and Twitter, it's at HOH Musical. I am on Twitter as at Belting Bonnie. And on Instagram, it's more casual, Belting Bonds. They should be the same. same, but it's like, no, this is business. This is casual. These are pictures. Makes no sense. But yeah, and come see us at the Hudson.
Definitely.
I think if you want a little respite from the world today and feel a little hope and joy and love, come check us out. It's a good time.
You are such a light. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so